I'm Dale Smith for Looney Politics, and now that Mark Carney's been chosen as the Liberal leader, there's a few steps that need to happen before he can be sworn in as Prime Minister. He can't just go to Rideau Hall on Monday and say, time to swear me in as Prime Minister, and then he takes the job. There's a few steps that need to be in between. One of those is going to have to be to choose a new cabinet. Because it's a new ministry, because there's a new First Minister, the cabinet needs to be swapped out, and because they will be going to an election with a number of ministers currently who have said they're not running again, the general consensus tends to be that you want to run people who are running again in the next election. So there are going to need to be choices to be made in terms of who's not running again, and to put new faces in there that he plans to run with as his team for the next election. So that's part of it. What generally happens is that the Prime Minister and Cabinet get all sworn in at the same time. Then they can have the big family photo at Rideau Hall, and that's what kind of goes down in the history books. It's even happened for Prime Ministers who have not had seats before, such as John Turner, and that's kind of the way that tends to happen. He needs to choose a new PMO, and that's going to be swapping out quite a number of people, and that will hopefully include a new Chief of Staff and other senior key personnel, because you also need to ensure that government is running. Even if you do go directly to an election, government still has to function, so you still need people in those key roles. One of the other things that he needs to consider is a new leader of the government in the Senate. The current leader, Senator Mark Gold, is due to retire in a couple of months. So with swearing in a new cabinet, now is the perfect time to not only change the government leader, but also to make that decision to put that government leader into cabinet, because that should be a cabinet role. Trudeau has made the decision that he didn't want that as a cabinet role as part of his distancing the Senate and his independent notion. It's caused a lot more problems than it's solved, and it's something that hopefully Carney will take under consideration when he chooses the cabinet and decides to make this something that he needs to rectify from Trudeau's legacy. There's a few other appointments that need to be made as part of that, but for the time being, these are all steps that should take place within the next week or so before the swearing in happens. And this is why it can't necessarily happen overnight, and why it'll be probably a week or so before everything comes into place, which will still be a fairly accelerated timeline from a normal transition. But because it is transitioning a new Prime Minister rather than a whole new government, hopefully that should make things go a little faster and a little more smoothly. For Looney Politics, I'm Dale Smith.